Hi, welcome to my kitchen. I am Mrs. Stewart and I teach second grade at San Rafael Elementary School. And today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite parts of summer. And that is caprese salad or insalata caprese. And I already did some of the prep beforehand because I realized it takes way too long if I do all of it on this video. So I'm going to show you how, I'm going to tell you how, but some of it I did in advance. So some of my favorite things in this recipe are tomatoes. Now, these are from my backyard garden. I'm so lucky to have that garden. And these tomatoes are yellow and they're amazing. But if you don't have tomatoes in your backyard and you don't know someone with tomato plants, you can also buy them at the store. So red tomatoes, fresh mozzarella, garlic, 1 clove, and basil or arugula leaves. What else? Olive oil, balsamic vinegar, salt and pepper, and oregano and basil if you desire. I think it's good that way. All right, so the tools you'll need for this are a serving platter or tray, a cutting board, 2 knives or so. I have a serrated knife, which is one of your vocabulary words because it has those edges. You see that? Those help a lot with cutting tomatoes because tomatoes are really hard to cut, but they work really well with the serrated knife. Now, before you do this or any kind of cutting, before you even start, make sure you have a parent with you to help you and give you permission and make sure that you're safe because we don't want anyone to cut off their fingers. That would be terrible. So we're going to get started here. I want to tell you this is one of my favorite things because it's quick and it's easy, but it looks really beautiful. So you can wow your friends and family with this gorgeous presentation that's really, really simple and easy to make. So it's kind of a magic trick. The history is that in the early 1920s in Italy, it was after World War I, and this Italian man who was patriotic, he loved his country. He said he wanted to make a dish that had the colors of the flag, red, white, and green. So red tomatoes, white the cheese, green the leaves, although mine are yellow too, so that's okay. And he lived on the island of Capri, so that's why it's called insalata caprese, because it's from Capri. Now, what they called it actually on that day, I'm not really sure, but that's what it's called now. So you're going to need to cut your tomatoes, wash your tomatoes first, cut them into 1/4 inch thick slices, which is about the width of your pinky. And you're going to arrange your tomato slices on your plate that you're going to use. And I have 1 medium-sized yellow tomato and 1 small Roma tomato. Now, I also cut my cheese into slices, and I'm going to place a slice. Actually, I cut them into slices and then I cut them again so they're not too big. Because I just like the cheese to kind of fit the size of my tomato. So you're going to layer, another vocabulary word, your cheese on top of your tomato like that. And now your last color is basil or arugula. Originally, this recipe was made with arugula. I have seen it mostly made with basil, but when I went to buy basil today at Stater Brothers, they didn't have it. So I had to use arugula. But arugula is really tasty. If you don't have either one of those, but you have spinach leaves, you could use spinach. You just want that nice green color. If you don't have any of those things, you can just use dried basil, which is here. Now, I like fresh and dried, so I'm using both. But you can use that and oregano. I like the spice of it for the dressing. So now, some people eat it just like this. So if you wanted, you could do that. But I like to make a dressing. So I add a 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1/8 of a cup of balsamic vinegar. And you know from your fractions, this is a 1/4 of a cup, and half of that would be 1/8 of a cup, because you're all in 2nd to 5th grade. And so you've all done fractions at some point. So I'm going to use either a spoon or a fork to whisk those ingredients. Oh, I almost forgot something, which is one of my favorites. Your garlic. So in order to get the skin off, you have to pinch it a little bit. And if that doesn't work, you can cut off the part that attaches to the rest of the clove. Put your garlic clove in there, and then you press, and that's a way to mince it, and you put it in the bowl. Now, if you don't have a garlic press, which I really recommend you asking your parents if they don't have one, but you don't have to have one. You can also take the garlic and cut it really finely. You could mince that garlic and do it that way too. So the bits and ends of the tomato that are not the perfect slices, don't throw those away. You can still eat those. But if you want your slices to be really beautiful, you might want to just keep the nice, flat, even slices. But don't throw away the tomato bits because they're still good. Okay, now we get to drizzle our dressing. So oil, vinegar, spices. I also forgot to mention salt and pepper, about 10 grinds of each. If you don't have the grinder, it's okay. You can just do maybe 5 shakes if you have that kind. So now with your soup spoon, you're going to drizzle the dressing over your tomato and cheese. And if you have a lot of people that you're serving, you know that they love this, you can continue to layer with more tomatoes, more cheese, then more leaves, and more dressing. You can choose how much dressing you use. I really love it. But if you have leftover, those tomato bits that you had, put them in. This is how my grandma used to make salad when I was a kid. And she'd say, "Ann, make the salad." And so she'd have the bowl, and she'd put her salad dressing at the bottom, and then she'd put her tomatoes in before it was time for the lettuce, so that the tomatoes would marinate. So if you have extra tomato bits and ends and extra dressing, I say put them in, let them sit, and they will be the yummiest things ever, these marinated tomatoes. Okay, so the finished product, Caprese salad, absolutely beautiful. Look how fancy that was, and it was easy, right? Look how fancy it is, and it was easy. So if you wanted to keep stacking them into towers, you could do that. Otherwise, you can serve them like this. You can make this into a sandwich if you put it on bread, or you can just eat the bread with the Caprese salad. I hope that you enjoy this. Make sure that you take your own pictures so that you can post them on our website and other people can see your versions of your Caprese salad. Thank you so much for watching, and bon appetit.